First, some breaking news for you. Hillary Clinton leaning a little more to the left today, coming out against the Keystone Pipeline.
I think it is imperative that we look at the Keystone Pipeline as what I believe it is, a distraction from the important work we have to do to combat climate change, and unfortunately, from my perspective, one that interferes with our ability to move forward to deal with all the other issues. Therefore, I oppose it.
All right, Mrs. Clinton is breaking her silence about the Keystone Pipeline. She's kept that silence for about 5 years. So why is she speaking up now? Joining me now, Christian Whiton, former State Department senior advisor under President Bush. So we've got the Pope coming in to talk about climate change. Also, Tom Borelli, contributor with Conservative Review, is joining us as well. Let me take it to you, Christian. So the Pope will be talking about climate change at the UN, but also Tom Steyer, he's a big green money guy. He's basically about the environment, spent $74 million last year. Is it Tom Steyer money basically staring at Hillary Clinton in the face?
Yeah, it's all of those things. It's, being dumped news-wise on the eve of the Pope's visit. The Pope's already here, the eve of Yom Kippur. All of her allies on the left, people who are excited about the environmental aspect of this, get the news, but otherwise it gets buried under by other stuff. And it's a sign, really, that the Democratic Party is continuing to go farther and farther left, sort of as with the Labour Party in the UK that just has elected an extreme left-wing leader. You have these three candidates, or prospective candidates, Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Hillary, all seeing how they can really energize the left wing of the party. It's just going to be disastrous for them in the long run. Yeah, the unions are going to be really mad about this. This is basically a play for the Green movement. That's what the Democrats, Mrs. Clinton, is basically betting on, that the Green movement now is more important than the unions who wanted the jobs here. But, Tom, here's the issue. Mrs. Clinton flip-flopping on the Keystone. Look at this soundbite we've got, this full-screen quote we're going to give to you, a statement Mrs. Clinton made in 2010. When she was asked about the Keystone Pipeline, she said this: "We've not yet signed off on it, but we are inclined to do so. And we are going to do so for several reasons." Going back to one of the original questions, we're either going to be dependent on dirty oil from the Gulf or dirty oil from Canada. Will this affect her, do you think, Tom, the flip-flop?
Well, let's look what's going on. Let's connect the dots. Her campaign is in free fall, right? I mean, the email scandal, plummeting polls. Most people think she's a liar. The Pope's in town, maybe talking about climate change. She's got to get on that agenda to talk about climate change. But it's really about jobs. This is another example of the progressive attack on jobs. And I sure hope those union labor workers are watching, because they will put these union people out of jobs. They're denying jobs right now, because how many thousands of jobs would be created through the construction, and more importantly, longer-term jobs in the refinery industry in the Gulf?
Christian, there's been some debate about the number of jobs Keystone would create: 3,000, 9,000, 42,000. Mrs. Clinton seems to be saying, forget it, unions. We don't care about you. We care more about the Green movement. There's more money to be made in the way of donations from the environmentalist movement. What do you make of that?
I think that's right. If you look at, there have been oceans of ink spilled by commentators on how the Republican Party has a problem with the Tea Party and its supposed extremes. But there has been this contest going on in the Democratic Party, and the far left has won. It has become a party of gentry liberals, not working class blue collar guys, certainly not a group that would welcome back Reagan Democrats, which is what Bill Clinton tried to do. But you have your gentry liberals, your technology liberals, plus government unions and perhaps minority groups. That does not get you to 51% in a general election. That gets you a lot of money from Silicon Valley, but it gets you minority status.
Again, breaking news: Hillary Clinton coming out saying she does oppose the Keystone Pipeline. This will be a big story for tomorrow, Tom. Here's the thing. The president lifting sanctions on Iran, 1 million barrels of oil a day from Iran coming into the markets. Keystone is about 700,000 barrels a day. And also a lot of trains are going to be used to deliver that oil to the market in Canada. Canada's going to ship that oil out anyway. Trains, a lot of accidents, a lot more pollution coming out of trains and basically trucks as well. What do you make of that, Tom?
There's also danger with the trains. How many train explosions have we seen when they're shipping it down? But again, this is all about jobs. It's all about the economy. This is what this election should be about, and I think this is what this election is going to be about. And I think Hillary Clinton is making a tragic error by really just throwing the unions under the bus.
All right, let's put it into context. This is the final point. 1,200 miles is the Keystone Pipeline. We've got 175,000 miles of pipeline for hazardous liquids and 2 million miles of pipeline for nat gas. So, Christian, seriously, what is going on here?
Well, it's just, this fascination with climate change. As you point out, it's going to be an issue with the papal visit. It's going to be an issue with Xi Jinping coming for a state visit. Then there's a lot of nonsense that's going to take place in Paris about climate change at a big confab there in December. So this is at the top of the liberal agenda, but it's terrible economics, terrible politics, as we've discussed, and terrible diplomacy. This stuff, it may come here in trains, but it could also go to China or some other market, and then we really lose out.